Welcome back to Coffee with Kem Hills. Oh, it's Thursday, so we are easing our way into the weekend, which is why we have like kind of a fun, hot topic that we're going to talk about. Do you have any plans this weekend?
We have minimal plans, which I'm very excited about.
We like that. I feel like that's a theme for us. Like, do you have plans? Hopefully not.
We have dinner plans with some new friends that we have made.
Nice.
Parents of our daughters, like our daughters go to school together. So parents that we've met through our daughters.
Oh, that's always nice.
So yeah, excited for that. We have babysitters, so it's a just a parents' night out.
Oh, that's so great.
So really excited.
To me, that's big plans.
Yeah, I mean, but it's
like,
only
so you have big plans. Okay.
I know, we had to get a babysitter.
Yeah.
We have dinner reservations.
Yes.
I'm gonna, shower and like do my hair.
Major.
Yeah. Put on some makeup, perhaps. Maybe just some red lipstick. I don't know.
Yep. As we learned, red lipstick that's all you need.
It just zhuzhes you up and people think you're trying really hard.
It's so true. It's something completely different when you have kids because nights become so much grander when you are factoring in childcare on top of dinner, drinks, whatever.
Yes.
Because you can easily spend a chunk of change when you go out for dinner.
Yes.
Especially if you're getting drinks.
Right. Yeah.
Let's be real.
Yeah.
But then it's not cheap. Babysitters are, I mean, that's so it becomes a very expensive evening altogether.
It does.
That's why I said this is a big event.
It is a big event. Well, I mean, and even just the planning for going out when you're a parent is so much more because, okay, yes, you have to find the reservation.
Yeah.
Then you also have to find a sitter. And sometimes, your first choice sitter or your only sitter isn't available. So then you're scrambling. You're like, does anybody else have another sitter that I can contact? And
this is so real.
And you're like, oh, I'm having a stranger come watch my child. They come recommended, so hopefully everything's good.
This is such a real thing. Like, don't get excited if you find one sitter. You need a Rolodex.
You do.
You really do. I have been in that position where I'm like, there is literally no one. I can't even find a friend. There's no one available. But like, you want a long list of trustworthy, people who come in at moment's notice.
You know you're good friends with somebody when you'll give them your babysitter's information. Like,
I'm very and this has come back to bite me. I had a babysitter that would come once a week, and but it was hit or miss. Sometimes I needed them, sometimes I didn't because my mom was helping. And she got nabbed up by someone I recommended her to and became their regular on that day. All right, we're going to get into hot topics. And we just have kind of a fun one today, don't we?
Yeah.
It's 10 celebrity tax evaders.
Ooh.
This is from How Stuff Works. And the article starts with Leona Helmsley. I didn't know she was notoriously nasty. I did not know that. She's called the Queen of Mean. Did you know that?
I did not know who she was, just in general, nor that she was the Queen of Mean, but then they talk about why she's considered the Queen of Mean, and she seems like a piece of work, for sure.
Like, I think her dog bit her housekeeper, and then she said, you deserved it, or something.
Yeah. She said, good job to the dog.
Good job, yes.
She deserves it. Her dog's name was Trouble, by the way, and apparently was also a piece of work. She also sued the cemetery where her husband was buried and her some other family members, and she was planning to be buried. She sued them for $150 million because they were building a lower end or more price affordable mausoleum.
Right.
And she did not want that in her serene final resting place.
She's a pill, huh?
She also cut 2 grandchildren out of the will, but didn't go into why, so maybe they deserved it. I don't know, or maybe she was just the Queen of Mean.
Well, and we're not surprised that she got in trouble for tax evasion because she was quoted saying, "We don't pay taxes. Only little people pay taxes." Well, this is called karma. Leona did 19 months plus 2 months house arrest on a 16-year sentence. Mm-hmm. Sorry, Leona. Mm-hmm. I think she's since passed away, actually.
Yes, but, there's,
That's what you get. The little people are laughing. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, the next one I feel like everyone's heard about.
Yes.
Martha Stewart. Mm-hmm. I didn't really know, I guess, the details of her crimes, so to speak.
Right.
I heard, though, apparently she went to the same prison as Leona Helmsley, and it's quite nice, actually.
I mean, who's surprised?
It's more like a retreat. It's a timeout in a nice, fancy retreat. But she failed to pay taxes on her New York home to the sum of $220,000. Yes, claiming that because she didn't spend that much time there, so she didn't think she needed to pay it.
I mean, that seems accurate, right? But the government doesn't care. I mean, does care. If you spend time there, they're like, oh, well, it's just her 8th home and she's not there more than a week, a year. So, she doesn't need to pay taxes on her capital gains. No.
That is such a rich person, or like a privileged way of thinking.
Seriously.
Well, I mean, I'm not even there. Don't you know that?
Right?
I just thought that was cute. That's very cute.
Yeah. So short story is the government doesn't care how much time you spend in a place.
No.
You still need to pay your taxes if you're selling an asset.
Yes. But then she got into other legal problems because she lied. Okay, so she lied about a deal she made with the pharmaceutical company Imclone Systems to sell her shares of stock if the price ever dropped below $60. She sold 4,000 shares of Imclone stock worth $228,000 a day before the company announced its promising anti-cancer drug was not approved by the FDA. So she lied to the feds about this.
Yeah, and this is what she actually went to jail for.
Yes.
It was for this insider trading situation.
Yeah, so I guess, well, there's some other stories like this too. Like if you do something worse than the tax evasion, you end up kind of going to jail for that, and then they're like, oh, we'll deal with the other one later.
Yes, and I think it's really also interesting, and we'll get into it a little bit further, but some people haven't been able to pay their taxes, their back taxes, and the government gets very creative on how they get their money back.
Right. They're going to get their money back.
They're going to get their money back.
Yep.
So, and to your point, she went to jail for something not tax related, but they got their taxes back still.
Yeah, well, she spent 18 months in jail with $220,000 bill for back taxes, which for her is, junk change.
Right.
So, so she went to that fancy jail, which, was basically a yoga retreat. And then, I don't really know. I don't know. I just remember hearing it on, you know, some silly, gossip news channel. Anyway, the next one is Al Capone.
Ooh.
I mean, they talked about a lot of stuff he was doing illegally.
Seriously. I mean, and we probably don't even know the extent of all his illegal activities.
There's no way.
Right.
But he had so much power and control as well. I mean, I feel like everyone was sort of working for him or scared of him.
Right. I mean, mobster in the 1920s, Prohibition was just you definitely don't mess with him. I mean, his mobsters, the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, they dressed up as cops and gunned down some rivals.
He was not messing around.
No. He apparently ruled his section of Chicago like it was his personal kingdom. And conveniently, when the St. Valentine's Day Massacre happened, he was just happened to be in Florida, which, especially in the 20s, it took time to get there. It's not like he was on a plane.
Right.
It was a long journey to get to Florida, so he clearly had an alibi.
Yeah, yeah.
So they couldn't get him for that, but as we all know, they got him instead for tax evasion.
Yes. So apparently, he was paying taxes based on a very modest income, even though he was living literally like a king. he created his own kingdom.
Right.
So he was sentenced to 11 years in prison, of which he served 7.5. Mm-hmm. So it's just so funny of all of like the disgustingly horrible things he did that should have put him in prison for life.
Right.
The tax man got him.
Right. It is kind of ironic.
That's how much they want their money.
And it's funny, I don't know if you've ever been to San Francisco and visited Alcatraz.
I haven't.
I have.
I want to so bad.
It's a really cool tour.
Yeah.
And they talk extensively about Al Capone's time there.
Oh,
and
did
the
he go
cell.
there?
Yeah, he served some of his time there. Wow. So I have been to 2 of the prisons that he has served time in.
Oh, that's so cool.
So there, and then also at Eastern Penitentiary in Philadelphia, he spent some time there as well.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. Which is
fascinating. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, I've always wanted to go to Alcatraz. I think that would be so cool.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
And when he got out of prison, he had syphilis, and so his brain was not very sharp.
He got that in prison?
I don't know if he got it in prison, but he certainly didn't get it taken care of. These days you can take antibiotics.
Isn't that a sexually transmitted disease?
It is. Mm-hmm.
So syphilis got him in the end?
Mm-hmm. So it was syphilis that really took him down. First it was the tax man, and then it was syphilis.
Tragic story for a tragic person. All right, moving on. Mm-hmm. The next one we got here is Willie Nelson.
Mm-hmm. Good old Willie.
Good old Willie. So in 1990, the IRS presented him with a $16.7 million bill for back taxes.
Whoa. How much money were you making that 16.7 million is what you owe in taxes?
Seriously.
And for how long was he not paying taxes?
Well, and it said here that apparently while he was on the road, his accountants weren't paying the taxes for years. I mean, who knows? Maybe that's his alibi.
Right.
I don't know. Like, it was my accountants. I didn't even know.
I was too busy playing the guitar and smoking weed.
And spending the $16.7 million that I saved in taxes. But I thought this was cute. He released an album, The IRS Tapes, Who Will Buy My Memories? And auctioned off most of his possessions that the IRS didn't already sell for him. Which most apparently were bought by like friends and family and then like given back to him.
Oh, I mean, that's nice. That's a nice thing to do for your friend.
He's got a good network of friends and family. But I don't know how many friends and family could make up $16.7 million worth of back taxes.
Yeah. Probably not. I mean, let's be honest. He probably got hopefully majority of it from selling.
From actually selling.
Doing his music again and selling that. But hilarious that he just named it what it was, which is like, I got to pay the tax man, guys. Like, help a brother out.
I know, he wasn't hiding anything. He's like, this is what's up.
Yeah.
All right, next on the list is Tim Geithner. The United States Secretary of Treasury was 5th in line for president. Yikes.
And like beyond being 5th in line for president, he was in charge of monetary policy for 4 years, from 2009 until 2013. So under Obama's presidency.
And despite all of this, he was confirmed and took office in January 2009.
Right. So he... I don't know. I mean, obviously to become Treasury Secretary, you clearly have a good handle of money.
Or you
are coming from a monetary background.
Yeah.
He had worked under the Clinton administration as well. So what he got in trouble for was not paying payroll taxes, so his own payroll taxes on monies that he got while working for the World Monetary Fund. So again,
for 4 years.
For 4 years. And again, like, he's a money guy.
Right.
Like,
this is what you do.
I think you understand that you should be paying taxes on your payroll, like on your income.
Yeah.
You would think. If you understand monetary policy, you should understand that.
Maybe he feels like how Leona Helmsley feels, and like taxes are just for the little people.
Maybe. But despite all of this, he still got confirmed.
He said it was a simple mistake.
Yeah.
Simple mistake.
But this is how you know he is actually really smart with money. Mm-hmm. So he got in trouble for not paying taxes for 4 years.
Right.
But 2 of those years were outside the statute of limitations. So he only paid the back taxes on 2 years. So that's how you know he's smart. He's a smart guy who understands.
He's a smart criminal who's in charge of the nation's finances.
Right. And helps steer us out of the Great Recession. Like, that's when he was in charge.
Yeah. Yep. Oh my gosh. Oh, what a world.
Right.
On that note, we are going to take a quick commercial break, but we will be right back to talk about more celebrity tax evaders. Welcome back. I bet y'all stuck around because these hot topics are pretty juicy.
Yep.
We've got more. Next on the list is O.J. Simpson. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, sadly, OJ has been on the other side of the law for various reasons over the last 20 years.
Yeah, and this was a big one that I think got overshadowed by some other things that were going on, if you haven't heard.
Maybe some white Bronco car chases associated with certain
Murders. And such. But yeah, so he actually got on a list. I didn't know this was like an official list of California state's most delinquent taxpayers. Simpson owed $1.4 million in back taxes, but he is one of those situations where they aren't dealing with that yet because they had some bigger fish to fry with him.
Yeah. Well, and actually, he has been pretty smart, and a lot of the money that he still does have is in accounts that the IRS can't really touch, like retirement accounts or other things like that, where it's much harder for them to garnish. He's not making any money right now, so they can't garnish wages, and these things are kind of like squirreled away into places.
It's like a theme with him. It's like legal officials have a hard time getting to the bottom of what he's done or has not done.
Well, I mean, he is in jail right now, so
yeah, that's true.
So they got him for that one.
But it took a while. It certainly took a while,
Yes.
didn't it? Oh my goodness. I definitely binged that docu. It wasn't a docu-series. It was a limited series. That was good. It's good. Good actors. Good job, everyone. All right, next on the list is, I have never heard of this woman.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've never heard of her, but
I remember this being a huge story when
Really?
it came, because it was in California.
Right.
Where I'm from. I mean, I'm not from LA area, but yeah, it was like a big thing because, well, you spill the tea on this one.
Well, I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name right. Heidi Fleiss?
Yep.
Heidi Fleiss. And what does she do for a living? I mean, I haven't...
She was a sex worker. She was a madam. She was a madam. And the reason why this was a huge story, she went to jail for that, being a madam, because a lot of her clients were high-profile people in the Hollywood industry.
And she was working illegally. Like, this was all...
I mean, in California, you can't have a brothel. You can't be a madam.
You can't have Nevada?
You can, which is what she tried to open after she got out of jail.
But she ended up opening a laundromat.
Correct.
Okay.
Because she didn't have the funds to fund her stud
Laundromat?
farm.
Brothel.
Right. Both cash revenue businesses.
True. So she laundered under the cover income through her family's bank accounts and paid cash for $1.6 million Beverly Hills estate. Wow.
And this was back in, I believe, the 90s. So back then, 1.6 million was a really, that was more money back then.
Right.
And yeah, so she, instead of, similar to Al Capone, she wasn't paying taxes on the actual income she was bringing in because it was illegal money that she was bringing in.
Right.
So she just,
Madame Fleiss
didn't need to pay taxes on it, she thought.
And she served 3 years. 3 years in Slammer. Yeah, interesting. I didn't know who she was. Now there must be a documentary about this somewhere that I can watch.
There's definitely a documentary, and there's probably a limited series as well.
Okay, good. I'm going to look that up when I get home tonight. That's what I like to watch before bed. I like to watch the uplifting things right before I go to sleep.
Yes.
All right, next on the list of thieves, tax evaders, is Nicolas Cage. I think he was also on the list of like worst real estate mistakes
He was, indeed.
celebrities
Yep.
ever made. So he's just doing whatever he freaking wants, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's not. He doesn't seem to be that great with his money.
No.
Yeah, he owed $6.2 million in back taxes.
Yep.
For not paying taxes on. He got paid $24 million for both, not together, but both Ghost Rider and Grindhouse.
Flops.
I couldn't tell you about either of those movies.
Yeah, so they were not box office hits. No wonder he's got such an inflated ego if he's getting paid that to do those movies. But he blamed his business manager. It was not his fault.
Mm-hmm. And it actually cost him, so instead of having criminal charges, civil charges, and the government got its money, he had to sell his Bavarian castle and homes in New Orleans and Las Vegas.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure, so fun fact, I had a bachelorette party, not mine, of friends in Vegas. And I'm pretty sure we got an Airbnb, and one of like the selling points was that it was previously owned by Nicolas Cage. So I might have possibly stayed in that Las Vegas house.
That he sold to pay
his taxes.
What do you know?
It wasn't the selling point for me, but I guess people who are Nicolas Cage fans are interested in staying in his former residences.
You know, face-off fans, all that.
Gone in 60 seconds.
That's right. All right, next on the list is Pete Rose. He was also a manager of the Cincinnati Reds.
And he got in trouble for betting on his own games while playing the sport. He is known as being one of the best to have ever played, but he is not in the Hall of Fame because of the trouble that he got into by sports betting. Which
and not paying taxes on his earnings, correct?
Well, he got in trouble with the IRS for not paying taxes on those earnings, but by the MLB, et cetera,
Right.
he's hasn't been inducted to the Hall of Fame because of betting on his own games.
Right. And he also wasn't paying taxes on like autographs and appearances that he was doing as well.
Yeah.
So that's sad. He was one of the best and didn't get that.
Well, when you do illegal things.
Moral of the story. Moral of the story, folks. All right. Well, last but not least, we have Judy Garland. Now, I know she lived kind of a tragic life, but I still just think of her like singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow with her little pigtails, and I'm like, oh, sweetie, you're a tax evader, what?
I know. It seemed like this was more a tragic situation than intentionally not wanting to pay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it wasn't like the smartest, like she wasn't making the smartest moves, but I think she was sort of on a downward spiral when it came to just drugs and career, you know, not going in the direction that she probably wanted it to. But when her career had kind of gone south, she was still spending like she was a huge star. And so when that tax bill came, she couldn't pay it.
Yeah. So
which is sad.
The IRS foreclosed on her home, and she spent most of the end of her years living on hotels and also on friends' couches.
Yep.
If you have seen the movie Judy, a lot of it is talked about in this time period. And before I'd seen the movie, I knew she had a tragic death. I didn't realize that kind of leading up to that, she had a tougher adult life. Like you think of, and also they allude to, you know, her adolescence and being in the industry not being super on the up and up as well. Just because of all the pressure that was put on her.
Right.
But it was, I mean, Renee Zellweger does a really great job in it, but it was a hard movie to watch.
Oh, I really want to see it now. I haven't seen it yet.
Because it was
tragic.
Tragic.
Yeah.
You just felt so bad. She made a lot of bad decisions.
Yeah, it's not a happy ending.
Yeah.
All right, so that is all we have for top celebrity tax evaders on this fine Thursday. So we're going to take a quick commercial break. We're going to be right back to talk about the shows airing today on ROI TV. Welcome back. Today, you will not want to miss Options Crash Course as Dr. Jim explains the Greeks. Learn how different Greek symbols give clues into your trading options. This series is just as important as the previous 3, and if you complete this, you will have a wealth of knowledge to work with. Also, don't miss today's episodes of Elder Talk and Browns and Suits. They're great and not to be missed, so please tune in. You can watch all of these episodes on ROI TV, where?
Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, or on your phone via our iOS or Android app. You can also now find us on Distro TV, so check us out there.
Thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Coffee with Kem Hills. We can't wait to see you next week.
See you next week.